algae, kelp, seaweed. There's an estimated 10,000 different kinds of it.
It's kind of a plant, but it's not a land plant. It's kind of the sea, but it's not a fish. If you think about it, you think, well, then if it's neither one nor the other, it's probably not edible. And that's what a lot of people that I would interview kind of said to me. They said, well, not really anything, is it?
But of course, it turns out seaweed is certainly something. In fact, seaweed is pretty essential to the life of the planet. Marine algae produces anywhere from 50% to 80% of the planet's oxygen supply. Not to mention, seaweed absorbs a huge amount of carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. It's known that seaweed has been historically popular in Eastern diets. Nowadays, millions of sea vegetables are farmed in Asia every year. In 2019, the Asian Pacific held over 55% share in the commercial seaweed market because of the food industry. But going back in American history, seaweed was a big part of the Native American diet too, before Western colonization. Somewhere along the line, Americans started to shun seaweed as part of their diets. It is used in more than just sushi. In fact, in America, using seaweed as food dates back to before the beginning of the nation, when pilgrims met with Native Americans and, for example, were taught about their cuisine, like clam bakes. Yes, a traditional clam bake included cooking up kelp aside all that shellfish. But since then, seaweed has transformed over and over again. You can find seaweed in more than just your dinner plate at your favorite Asian restaurant. It could be in your toothpaste, in your almond milk, in your pricey moisturizer, or baby food, ice cream, and even your beer. Seaweed is used in medicines, and it can be used for fuel.
I think an algae-based fuel should be able to power all planes in the world.
Besides being used for food, another big use of seaweed is colloids, specifically phycocolloids, like alginate, agar, and carrageenan. If those sound like strange words you might find in a nutrition label, you're right. These are seaweed-based food additives that can produce a certain consistency or texture. Seaweed is also increasing in popularity as a meat substitute.
It enhances the meatiness. It's full of natural umami, which people use a lot now to convey the idea of meat, but without the meat.
So one of the challenges of a lot of the plant-based foods is that it's soy-based, and soy is extremely destructive. So we want to replace those harmful inputs with things like seaweed.
It was actually McDonald's that first pioneered a burger using seaweed. Back in 1991,
Introducing
the
McLean
Deluxe,
made with a 91% fat-free beef patty.
And it was advertised as the NBA's official sandwich.
New McLean Deluxe will blow you away.
It was on the menu for 5 years. Colloids are not just a food additive. They're also present in medicine. For example, alginates are used in dental molds production, and in wound dressings, and even diet pills. Seaweed is also found in the personal care sector. Alginates are used as dispersing and thickening agents in lotions, creams, and soaps. For example, the first ingredient in this moisturizer from La Mer is algae extract. 2 ounces of this lotion retails for $345. Colloids are also found in fabrics. Today, firemen's clothes is still treated with alginate for fireproofing. Another factor boosting the industry's valuation is demand for eco-friendly fertilizers.
Because many seaweeds also produce growth-regulating compounds. And these growth-regulating compounds are part of the biostimulants that are used in our land-based agriculture.
Hand in hand with fertilizers is animal feed.
Many animal feeds, whether they be cattle feeds, chicken feeds, hog feeds, actually have seaweed ingredients in them.
But also, some studies show it could be a way to fight climate change. So cows produce a lot of methane gas. And methane is a major greenhouse gas contributing to global warming. In 2016, Australia's James Cook University found that adding a small amount of a particular algae reduced methane production by 99%. Smith says a new climate economy is starting, and this can be seen in another use for seaweed: biofuel. That's where the Department of Energy's Mariner program comes in. The program aims to make better use of the United States underwater territory because the US actually has more water than land, known as the Exclusive Economic Zone, and it's larger than the total land area of the US, including Alaska.
If you're producing it sustainably as a biofuel, you can replace fossil fuels because it's all photosynthetic.
The US Department of Energy estimates that seaweed biofuel can yield more energy per acre than land crops like corn.
Really, what's exciting about it is that you look at biomass as really a resource for a lot of energy solutions, not just for fuels, but also for power. And so there's a lot of ways to use biomass, and especially in a low carbon world.
Since the Mariner program began in 2015, it has put more than $50 million into at least 18 different farming projects.